The forest was dense, shadows stretching like whispers of uncertainty, wrapping me in the profound silence of solitude. My footsteps faltered as I stood, heart weighed down, beneath a towering tree laden with stillness. A stream murmured nearby, its voice a soft counterpoint to the beating of my restless heart. Lost in my own thoughts, I whispered aloud, "Buddha, where are you when my path seems so unclear?" The world held its breath, the leaves no longer rustling, as if awaiting an answer to my plea. Then came a voice, soft yet resonant, as if the earth itself spoke wisdom into being. "Child," it said, "why do you perceive the path to be unclear, when clarity begins within yourself?" I turned, startled, and there he was, serene under the canopy, an embodiment of peace amidst the chaos. His gaze was neither reproachful nor indulgent. It simply was, a mirror reflecting my turmoil. I knelt before him, unsure of words, but my heart spoke freely of its burdens and its confusion. "I feel adrift," I confessed, "as though every step I take leads me farther from where I yearn to be." His eyes held mine, and with a slight nod, he gestured for me to rise, to listen. "When one is lost," he began, "it is not the forest that confounds them, but their own unwillingness to pause." His words hung in the air, like morning dew clinging to the leaves, fragile yet enduring in their truth. He continued, "Imagine a man who walks endlessly, believing his destination lies just beyond the horizon he cannot see. This man does not stop to reflect, does not ask himself why he journeys or what he seeks." I found myself leaning forward, drawn by the quiet magnetism of his voice, the wisdom it carried. "He becomes weary," Buddha continued, "not from the distance he has traveled, but from the weight of his unexamined mind." His gaze lifted to the sky, as though drawing inspiration from the heavens, before settling back upon me. "Do you see, child? The path is not something external to find. It is an understanding to be revealed within." I closed my eyes, letting his words sink in, feeling their resonance ripple through the core of my being. The stream resumed its song, its gentle cadence now a harmony to Buddha's teachings, as if nature itself affirmed them. "Then how shall I pause?" I asked, my voice barely more than a whisper, afraid of breaking the sacred stillness. "Sit beneath your tree," he said, as the man in the forest once did. "Listen, not to the wind, but to your heart." The image he painted lingered vividly in my mind. A man seeking answers not in the wilderness around him but in the silence within. "The answers you seek," Buddha added, "are not destinations, but revelations." A question welled up within me, hesitant but persistent, and I dared to voice it. "But what if my heart offers no answers? Only echoes of doubt?" His smile was gentle, unshaken, as though he had heard this fear countless times before. "Even echoes carry truth," he said. "Do not fear them, for they are the remnants of voices you have ignored." I found myself exhaling a breath I had not realized I was holding, a weight lifting as his words illuminated my confusion. He motioned for me to rise again, to take a step closer to the flowing stream, its waters clear and alive with light. "Look into the water," he instructed, "and tell me what you see." I obeyed, leaning over the edge, only to find my own reflection gazing back. "Myself," I said, uncertain if this was the answer he sought. "Yourself," he echoed, "and more. The water is ever changing, yet it reflects what stands before it without hesitation." His hand gestured toward the ripples that distorted my reflection as a leaf floated past. "Do you see? The ripples do not erase you. They simply transform how you are seen in a fleeting moment." I nodded slowly, the analogy sinking deep into my awareness, showing me the transient nature of my own doubts. "The path you walk, child," Buddha said, his voice as steady as the stream, "is no more linear than this water." His eyes seemed to twinkle with a wisdom so profound it felt boundless. And like this water, your journey is both constant and ever-changing. Let it flow naturally. A breeze stirred the air, cool against my skin, as I felt the embrace of his words like a gentle cloak. But what if I cannot find the courage to take that first step again? I asked, bearing my vulnerability. He placed his hand lightly upon mine, his touch a reminder of the connection we all share. To take a step, he said, is not about courage but faith. Not in the path ahead, but in yourself. I stared at him, absorbing the weight of his statement, and felt something within me begin to shift and settle. Faith is the seed, he added, and every step waters it, allowing it to grow, to flourish into certainty. The disciples who had gathered around listened in reverent silence, their own hearts stirred by the simple yet profound truths. Buddha turned his gaze to them, his words now encompassing all who sought his wisdom. Each of you walks your own path, he said, but none of you walks it alone. You carry within you the echoes of those who came before and those who will follow. His eyes returned to mine, grounding me in a moment that felt both eternal and fleeting. Even as you pause to reflect, he said, remember that the journey itself is a gift, a chance to discover and rediscover your truth. My heart swelled with gratitude, the overwhelming sense that I was not alone in my struggles, nor in my pursuit of meaning. The sun dipped lower, casting golden hues across the forest floor, as if the very light bore witness to Buddha's teachings. I realized, as I stood there, that the answers I sought were neither distant nor elusive. They had been within me all along. Thank you, Blessed One, I said, bowing deeply, my voice trembling with sincerity. He raised his hand in a blessing, his eyes filled with a compassion that transcended words. Walk your path with mindfulness, he said, and you shall find it leads you to where you truly belong. With that, he turned, his robe flowing like a river's current, and disappeared into the embrace of the forest, leaving me with a heart newly illuminated by his wisdom. Another day, another moment of reflection. I found myself sitting by the riverside, watching the current flow steadily onward. The water sparkled under the sun, its dance a beautiful, ceaseless motion, a testament to the passage of time. I felt a heaviness within me, as though the flow of my thoughts was stagnant. Unlike the river, Buddha, I whispered into the open air, hoping my voice could traverse the space and reach his wisdom. The rustle of nearby reeds signaled his arrival, his footsteps measured, as though in harmony with the rhythms of the world. He seated himself beside me, silent, offering his presence without expectation or condition, a quiet anchor in the chaos of my mind. Child, he said, after a time, his voice as calm as the river's flow. What troubles you on this peaceful day? I turned to face him, my heart an ocean of unanswered questions and unspoken fears. Blessed One, I began, hesitating, unsure where to start. I have found stillness within, yet now face an obstacle I cannot cross. A river of uncertainty lies before me, its currents strong and unyielding. How do I overcome it and continue my journey? The Buddha's gaze rested upon the water, his eyes reflecting the gentle ripples as though seeing something far beyond. Listen closely, he said, his tone inviting yet firm, for I will share a story to guide your understanding. I nodded, my heart leaning into his words, ready to drink deeply of the wisdom they carried. There was once a village, he began, divided by a mighty river. On one shore, villagers toiled endlessly, driven by the belief that treasures awaited on the opposite bank. They gazed across the water with longing, dreaming of a life just out of reach. Yet none dared to brave the currents, for the river's strength filled them with fear. His voice wove the story like a thread through my consciousness, each word a stitch binding me to its meaning. On the other shore, he continued, lived those who had given up entirely. They claimed the river was impossible to cross, and so they ceased even to try. They sat idle, watching the water without purpose, resigned to their perceived limitations. I felt a tension rise within me, the pull of both shores echoing my own struggles, my own uncertainties. But among them, Buddha said, his voice softening, was a carpenter. He was neither reckless nor resigned but curious. The carpenter studied the river carefully, observing its flow, the strength of its current, and the way it shaped the land. He did not despair at the river's might but saw in it a challenge to be understood. I leaned closer, captivated by the simplicity and depth of the tale, eager to know the carpenter's fate. With steady hands, Buddha continued. The carpenter began to build a bridge. He gathered wood, shaping each plank with care, laying them down one by one. He knew that rushing would lead to failure, that each piece must be strong and well placed. Over time, his efforts inspired the villagers. They saw his determination and began to believe in the possibility of crossing the stream before it seemed to echo the story, its murmurs like whispers of encouragement, urging me to grasp its meaning. The carpenter's bridge, Buddha said, did not arise overnight, nor without effort, but with patience and persistence. It grew. When the final plank was laid, he crossed to the other shore, not to seek treasure, but to see the fruits of his labor. And in doing so, he showed others the way. He turned to me then, his gaze as steady as the flow of the river itself. The river of your uncertainty, child, is no different. It is deep and swift, but it is not impassable. Each decision you make is a plank in your bridge. Each action, no matter how small, brings you closer to the far shore. His words settled into my heart like seeds, their potential for growth undeniable, yet requiring my own effort to nurture. But what if my choices falter? I asked, my voice trembling with the vulnerability of the question. What if my planks are weak and the bridge collapses under their weight? The Buddha's smile was gentle, unshaken, a beacon of reassurance amidst my doubts. Not every plank will be perfect, he said, but perfection is not the goal. The bridge itself is a testament to the journey, a reflection of your courage to face the river. When a plank fails, you may replace it, learning from its weakness, and continue. His hand gestured toward the flowing water, its surface shimmering under the light, a reminder of both its beauty and its challenges. Do not fear the river, child, he said, for it is the very obstacle that will teach you the strength within you. I gazed at the stream, seeing it anew, not as an adversary, but as a teacher, its currents a mirror of my own inner struggles. Buddha's voice softened further, a whisper that seemed to carry the weight of the universe. Life's greatest challenges are not to be avoided but embraced, for they shape the bridges that carry us forward. And remember, child, even as you build your bridge, you are not alone. The hands that guide you, the voices that encourage you, and the hearts that walk beside you are all part of your journey. Tears welled in my eyes, not from sadness, but from the profound truth of his words, their resonance a balm to my weary soul. Thank you, Blessed One, I said, bowing deeply, my heart swelling with gratitude for his guidance, his unwavering presence. He raised his hand in a gesture of blessing, his eyes filled with a compassion that seemed infinite. Go now, he said, and begin the work of laying your planks. With each step, you will find the river grows narrower, the far shore closer. As he rose to leave, his robe flowed like a stream's current, blending seamlessly with the natural world, as though he were both part of it and beyond it. I watched him disappear into the forest, his presence lingering in the air like the last notes of a song, a melody of wisdom that would guide me as I faced my own river. Another day, another moment of deep reflection. I found myself in a quiet grove, where sunlight dappled the ground. My heart carried questions heavier than before, questions about the purpose of my journey and its significance. I wondered if my steps, my efforts, had meaning beyond the confines of my own existence. Buddha, I whispered, my voice trembling as the leaves above swayed gently. What is the purpose of walking this path? He emerged from the shadows, his presence as steady as the earth itself, a calming force amidst my inner turmoil. He seated himself on the cool grass, his eyes meeting mine with a compassion that dissolved my defenses. Child, he said, his voice soft yet profound, your question arises from the ripening of wisdom within you. Speak freely of your thoughts. I hesitated but then poured forth my feelings, my doubts, my fears. Though I have found direction and crossed my rivers, I feel an emptiness, I confessed. What is the meaning of this path if it serves only myself? Is this journey not meant for something greater? The Buddha's gaze did not waver, his calm demeanor encouraging me to continue, to lay bare the fullness of my heart. I seek purpose, I concluded, my voice a whisper, a compass to guide me toward something beyond my own needs. He nodded, his expression one of understanding, as though he had heard these words countless times and cherished them each time. Listen closely, child, he began, for I shall tell you of a compass that guides without fail. Even in storms. The grove fell silent as his words began to weave a story, each sentence a thread binding truth to the fabric of my understanding. There was once a sailor, he said, who set out upon endless seas, his destination uncertain, his path unmarked. He carried with him a compass, a simple tool whose needle pointed steadfastly to the North Star. Through calm waters and raging tempests, the compass remained true, guiding him with unwavering consistency. I found myself picturing the sailor, adrift yet anchored by the faith he placed in the steady needle of his compass. The sailor did not chase the horizon, Buddha continued, nor did he despair at the waves that rose against him. His trust lay in the compass, whose purpose was not to reach a destination but to provide direction. His gaze met mine, and I felt as though the weight of the story was settling into my very soul. The compass, he said, his voice carrying the depth of the oceans, as compassion. It aligns you not only with your journey but with the greater good of all beings. I leaned forward, the simplicity yet profound nature of his statement resonating deeply within me. But how, I asked, my voice hesitant, does one carry this compass? How does compassion guide when the path remains uncertain? His smile was gentle, a reflection of the infinite patience that seemed to define his essence. Compassion, he explained, is not something you carry externally, like a tool or an object. It is a quality within you, a light that illuminates your path and the paths of others. To act with compassion is to align your journey with the needs and well-being of all who cross your way. The grove seemed to hum with the energy of his words, the sunlight filtering through the trees as though affirming their truth. When you walk your path, he continued, with compassion as your guide, you transform each step into an act of service, of love. Even amidst uncertainty, your journey becomes a beacon for others, a reminder that no one travels alone. Tears welled in my eyes, the simplicity and depth of his words unlocking something profound within me, a truth I had long sought. Then my journey, I said, my voice trembling, is not just for myself. It is for all who wander, all who seek. He nodded, his expression filled with a quiet joy that seemed to reflect the realization dawning within me. Yes, child, he said, when your path becomes a light for others, it loses its burden and gains its true purpose. To act with compassion is to become the sailor, not chasing shores but guiding others through the storms. A breeze stirred the leaves, carrying with it the scent of earth and growth, a reminder of the interconnectedness of all life. But what if I falter? I asked, voicing the lingering doubt that clung to me. What if my compassion wavers, and I lose my way? His hand rested lightly on mine, a gesture of reassurance that felt like a bridge spanning the chasm of my fears. Compassion, he said, is not an unbroken thread. It is a practice, a commitment renewed with each moment. When it wavers, as all things do, you return to it. As a sailor returns to his compass after being thrown off course, I nodded. His words settling into my heart like seeds, ready to grow with the nourishment of my own efforts and intentions. He rose, his movements fluid and harmonious, his presence a testament to the balance he spoke of. Remember, child, he said, his voice a gentle command. Your journey is not measured by the distance traveled but by the love and service it embodies. As he disappeared into the trees, his figure blending with the natural world, I sat in the grove, my heart alight with a newfound clarity. The compass of compassion was now mine to carry, its needle pointing not to a distant shore but to the greater good. And as the sunlight continued to dance upon the ground, I felt a peace that was not the end of the journey but the beginning of its truest chapter. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.